Good afternoon, everyone. Carolina Gilcapi from Sade Adventures here. Your trip is just around the corner. I was reviewing your itinerary and there are so many details, so I thought let's go through it together one more time. There's 11 of you, so I'm sure there's lots of questions. Jot them down. But there are a lot of logistics, how to prepare. So I think going through it together can help. I'm going to share my screen and you'll be able to see the PDF. I'm sending all of this to you in a written format as well. So quickly, requirements, that's simple enough. Make sure you bring your passports. That's all that's needed for this trip. And then while you're traveling, you have our contact number here. This is my team in Peru. So in the middle of the night, if you need anything, you can reach us. Of course, you can WhatsApp me, you can email me, just like on your previous travels with us. We are available 24 hours a day. We have a medical team on call if you need if anyone's not feeling so well, stomach issues or altitude issues, we are here for you. So make sure that you have WhatsApp downloaded into your phone and you can reach out to us anytime you need us. Then it is your roster of all 11 names and information. This is what we have used to make all the confirmations for the itinerary. So now let's go through the trip. On December 27th, you're going to take that overnight flight to Lima, Peru. And once you arrive and go through customs and pick up your luggage and leave that secured area, you will start seeing people right outside. Sometimes they're right inside the door, sometimes they're right outside the door, depending on what the airport is allowing them to do. But our guide will be standing there with a sign with your last name on it, most likely just Bozeman, so it's nice and easy to spot with State Adventures sign on it. And they will be there to greet you and take you all to your hotel in Lima after your overnight flight. So early check-in is guaranteed, so you can shower, freshen up, have some breakfast, and then prepare to see, some highlights of Peru. So Iberostar Miraflores, that's the hotel we discussed from the beginning. We have one, two, three, four, five rooms confirmed at this hotel as well as all others. And once we are ready to go around 10 a.m., our guide will come and pick you up for your first excursion. So we have two things that we're going to do on that first day. We're going to do a gourmet tasting tour of Lima, which is a lot more walking. And then we're going to do a tour of the highlights of Lima, which is more by car, but of course at your leisure, at your pace. So if you want to get out of the car, you sure can, as much as you want. Of course, we're going to go to so let me start with the gourmet. And the reason I did that, originally we had city tour, then gourmet tour. That's because being able to kind of have that second wind after your travels and walk around and have a milkshake and have a coffee and go to the market and kind of taste some fruit and go to the ruins, have a nice lunch. It works really well upon arrival. And then in the afternoon, when you're a little bit tired, when it's hitting you that you just came off of an overnight flight, you're going to be in our car. You're going to see the sights like the main square pop out, take some beautiful photos, go to the museum, spend some time there exploring. So it is at your pace by any means. If anything feels like we're rushing or we need to speed up, the guides are there at your at your beck and call for the day. And so lunch will be during that gourmet tour. And then tonight you'll have some time to kind of freshen up again because we made that reservation at Maida for you, which is a famous restaurant. Now, when I tell you it takes 3 months, they open those tables and they go like that. So I'm very happy that you have a table reserved for you all, for your family. The restaurant does not have a table for 11 people to sit together. I think it's going to be two tables very close next to each other, but they will take care of you. It is a very high-end restaurant. So the table is confirmed for 8:30, and you can pay directly to the restaurant, eat off of their menu there, and tell them to call you a taxi or some kind of transportation back to the hotel when you are ready. And that is our Lima. We are quickly there for in and out, see the highlights, and we're off on December 29th to the Inca Triangle, the Cusco, Machu Picchu, and Sacred Valley area. So December 29th is when we start altitude traveling, and I always make sure that we acclimate properly. So we're going to fly from Lima to Cusco. The flight is only 55 minutes or so it's not a long flight, but it is an early flight, 7:30 in the morning. So we're going to be picking you up around 4:30 in the morning, drive about 45 minutes to the airport, make sure we have at least 2 hours for check-in. And then once you arrive in Cusco, about it says 8:55, but it's usually going to be just an hour flight, so about 8:35 or so our team will pick you up from there. So I want to just always remind you that Peru, although it has so many amazing experiences, a lot of the experiences happen in the morning. So we're always moving, we're always going wherever I can fit in some time to sleep in and rest. I do, but a lot of that happens in the afternoon. So even though the days look full, the afternoons are usually your leisure, your siesta time, but mornings are go, go, go. Mornings are early. So prepare for that because it is part of the experience and definitely worth it because you're going to see so many amazing sights. So early day, we'll fly to Cusco. It's just an hour flight, so it's not exhausting. Once you arrive, we go right to Sacred Valley because it's 2,000 feet lower. And right away, we're going to go to our Iscamaras so we can settle in and have an early lunch. If you arrive around 8:30, you're going to be there. It's an hour and a half drive. So, 10:30 or so, you're going to be there. And that way will allow you to have maybe a brunch type of meal in case you didn't have a breakfast this morning because it was so early. So East Camaras is a great location for that. It's on a beautiful farm. It's reservations only. And then afterwards, you'll get that second win again because you're gonna be well fed. And we're gonna do our biking tour of Sacred Valley of Maras Morai, which is a beautiful site. It's a little challenging, but it's so beautiful, so scenic, and a lot of fun. You have a professional guide that will be joining you, and of course, all the equipment is provided for all 11 of you. And this is a private experience just for your family. And afterwards, we're going to go to your hotels. Remember that we're at two properties, Tambo del Inca and Aranua. Dinners are included at both. Our guide knows all the details, so he will drop off one half of the group, then go to the other and make sure everybody is checked in and ready to go and they can rest before our next day adventure. So December 30th, we're going to continue with Sacred Valley because we need 48 hours in high altitude before we go to Machu Picchu. So today we're going to visit some famous sites like Pisac Market and then less known sites like Pisac Ruins, as well as Ollantaytambo Village, which is like a thriving community. It has ruins, it has Inca sites, it has a market, it has a village itself with local communities, llamas running around, children playing soccer. It's a lot of fun to explore here. Lunch will be arranged very Peruvian style pachamanca, which is a meal that's cooked underground. And then you're going to return to your hotels and rest. Dinner is at the hotel again. So the idea is see as much during that thriving part of the morning and rest in the afternoon because you are traveling in December. December can be rainy, but the rains usually happen in late afternoon. So it works perfectly for exploring. It has never affected my travel. I've been to Peru 7 times now, and it doesn't matter what month I go, we always are able to accomplish everything on our list. So December 31st is when we're going to Machu Picchu, really special, right? New Year's Eve. So we're going to pick you up in the morning, take you to the train station. The train is about an hour and a half, and you're going to arrive in Aguascalientes. This is an important day to kind of prepare for because you cannot take all of your luggage to Machu Picchu. You can only take, let's say, whatever you brought in as your carry-on. So a backpack, a little wheelie suitcase that's small for a carry-on, a duffel bag. Those bags are allowed. Large suitcases are not allowed on the train. So we always arrange a separate car for your luggage. So our guide will take you to the train station and a driver will take your luggage all the way to Cusco. It will be locked up in the Cusco hotels. So it will be marked, ready to go, and stored safely for your reunion with the bags the following day. But you're just packing for that overnight in Machu Picchu and for your next morning, when you're changing clothes and going to Huayna Picchu. And the guide will advise you how, when, what, to make sure that you know what to bring and what it will look like. You have to be able to carry yourself onto the train, off of the train. Other than that, we have assistance. What happens once you get off the train in Machu Picchu is about 500 people get off the train and it is absolute chaos. But what we do is we have our guide there to meet you as well as a porter. So the porter will take your bags and take them to the hotel. That way you don't have to. That way you can go directly to the shuttle and go to the ruins with your guide. So you want to think again, what does that mean for your luggage? You're going to have your overnight backpack, which is your, pajamas, a change of clothes, toothpaste, which you don't need to bring to the ruins. So that goes with the porter. And for you, maybe a little tiny backpack or day pack or a little purse where you will have your camera, your passport, your water bottle, things like that, just for whatever you need at the ruins. So again, guide will discuss this with you the day before, but I just wanted to give you a heads up because it might seem overwhelming, but by all means, everyone does the same thing. So it's very smooth going if you plan ahead. So the guide will show you the best of Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu is split between 6 or 7 different circuits. So we always go with a really nice circuit that is not a repeat of tomorrow. So we'll go one circuit today, come back to the village, which is by shuttle. And here you will have some free time. The guide will come with you for whoever wants to go to the hot springs. The guide will join you. The tickets are included for you. I have to tell you that it is a backpacker's paradise. It is not anything upscale, but it is a rustic experience and a lot of fun. And maybe the kids will enjoy that. And then also you'll have free time to have lunch on your own in the hotel or in the village. Then go to your rooms, rest, have dinner at the hotel that's included, and get some sleep because the next morning is your Huayna Picchu. And of course, this is New Year's Eve. So there's going to be festivities, there's going to be things happening in the village. The village is tiny. There are no cars in the village. There are no, highways or anything like that. It's tiny. The only transportation is the shuttle that goes to the ruins. Other than that, it's one main square, one little market. It's really charming and very safe to walk around and explore. So the next day you go with the same guide, you go back up the shuttle to the ruins to do your Huayna Picchu hike for whoever wants to Huayna Picchu because it is a strenuous, pretty high hike. It is definitely not for the faint of heart. There's big drop-offs and a few scary parts. So you might want to go halfway and come back. That's perfectly fine. You'll see plenty of people turning around, not going all the way to the top, but going to a few of the viewpoints so that they can see Machu Picchu from above. Really wonderful experience. I just hiked Huayna Picchu last month or 2 months ago. And it was wonderful, but definitely, definitely challenging. We'll have lunch at the Sanctuary Lodge arranged for you, which is right by the ruins. And then also, if half of you decide, hey, I actually don't want to hike Huayna Picchu, there is plenty of places to explore and enjoy around the area. It's not like you're going to be just standing there waiting by the gate by any means. There was plenty of time and places for you to enjoy, and the guide will make sure you are aware of where you can or cannot go. And then after lunch, we go back to the ruins, my apologies, go back to the village and catch our train back out of Machu Picchu. So the train returns to Ollantaytambo, which is this train station in Sacred Valley, which is halfway to Cusco. It arrives at 5:30 p.m. Why do we not take the train all the way to Cusco? Especially in times like December, January, it only goes to Ollantaytambo, or if it goes further in, it goes very, very slowly, and we find it way easier, way more comfortable on our guests if we pick them up from Ollantaytambo and drive them an hour and a half in a car, as opposed to spend 2.5 hours additionally on the train going 5 miles an hour. So that is why, just so you kind of understand, well, why are we going back to Sacred Valley? Well, because it's easier. The roads are much better that way. We'll pick you up, take you to the hotel, check you into your 2 hotels that are in Cusco. Cusco main downtown is quite small. There's a huge main square, and your hotels are on the opposite sides of the hotels. Aranwa is just a block from the main square, and Casa Andina Premium is about 3 blocks away from the main square. So it's maybe a 6 minute car ride or a 12-minute walk, but a really nice walk. You're going to walk through the main square to get to each other. That should be a meeting point anytime you're planning something together. And then the following day, we're going to show you Cusco. So it's a great city. You have 2 things arranged today. So you have the tour of Cusco, which is the downtown, the main Coricancha temple, the ruins, but also horseback riding. So there's going to be some lovely adventures in the afternoon. And then again, afternoon and evening at your leisure, so you can rest, so you can take a nap, at the hotel and explore Cusco, explore all the wonderful restaurants there as well. January 3rd, we're going to Vinicunca. So this is another adventure. This is another early day. I have done this hike. I have done all of the rainbow hikes that are around Cusco. It is an early day and it is a long day because the Vinicunca Rainbow is about a 2.5 hour to 3 hour drive away from Cusco. So that's why we start really early. We start at 5:30 because most buses will start at um, uh, 6 o'clock or so. I mean, some even leave at 4 o'clock, but but we start around 5:30 so that we can get there right before the large buses. I mean, bus loads of people. So we pick you up early, and you can sleep on the on the train in the car. We stop for breakfast, make sure you have, you're fueled, and then we start hiking. We rented horses for you for anyone who wants to. You only use the horses about halfway, and then continue on foot. But it really helps because you kind of save some of that energy. And even if you go halfway and come back, it is so beautiful. It is, I mean, stunning. It's really high altitude, so beautiful colors on the mountains. Indigenous people left and right, tending to their fields and their llamas, and it's just a magical place, especially if the weather is like a little misty, which happens here all the time. So it's definitely worth the 3 hour drive each way. The hike itself probably took no more than 2.5 to 3 hours round trip. Lunch after the hike, and then the drive home and drive back to Cusco. And then we will make sure you have some time to rest because that tonight we're going to put together that cocktail mocktail tour, which is a lot of fun. It's basically just a tasting tour of 3 to 4 restaurants around Cusco, where adults can get cocktails, kids will get mocktails or fresh juices, and there's always some like little things to pick on at each restaurant. It's just a lovely way to see Cusco like a local person. And then the next day, we're off to Lake Titicaca. You for sure are visiting so much of Peru. You're doing a really great circuit. So Lake Titicaca, remember, is just south of Cusco, and we're going to fly there. So you're flying. There is no nonstop flight from Cusco to Juliaca, which is on the lake. So it stops in Lima, unfortunately. So you have that flight. You're going to leave you're going to fly out at 7. You're going to leave at 1. You're going to arrive there at 1:15 p.m. And then from the airport to the lake is about an 45 minutes drive, and we're going to take you right to the lake. Originally, I had your stand-up paddleboard arranged this afternoon, but the winds really pick up in the afternoons. So most likely it will get canceled, and I didn't want that to happen and have disappointment. So we're going to take you to the hotel. It's a great property. Enjoy the hotel, enjoy the views, do a little walk around the lake, or enjoy the outdoors there and get some energy. This is one of the only afternoons you have that's fairly free for you. And the next day, I added the stand-up paddleboard to your full day tour. It really makes more sense this way. You're going to visit Uros Islands. You're going to visit Tequila Islands. The guide is coming with you. It's a little bit by boat. It's on foot as well. And then throughout the day, will be the family will be split into two groups and we'll be paddleboarding. Half of them will paddleboard first, and then the other half maybe after tequila. But we will arrange it so that everyone gets the opportunity to enjoy the lake from the water for sure, and then come back to your hotel in the evening. And lunch is on the lake as well. And then the next day you're flying, it's the end of your trip. You're coming back to Lima and going to the desert for one night. But on the way from the lake back to the airport, there is an amazing Inca site, or maybe pre-Inca site, called Silustani, and it's a necropolis. So it's another site to visit. So I actually added this for you and for your family so that you can have some more stunning places, more photo opportunities around the lake, since it's such a quick visit for 2 nights only. And then your flight is at 2 o'clock. You arrive in Lima at 3:30. Our private driver will be waiting for you there to take you directly to your desert hotel. This is January. This is where a lot of Lima people are on vacation. So usually this drive is 3 hours, but I put 3 to 4 hours just so you can expect some traffic. Just hey, if there's no traffic, awesome. It'll be 3 hours and you'll just zoom right to the resort. But I don't want you to be surprised if there is some traffic and the drive winds up being a little bit longer. If you need to stop on the way, of course, the driver will stop, but you will find that there's not many places to stop. So if you need any snacks, please pick them up in Lima. But actually, I actually just purchased a whole cooler filled with drinks and snacks for this drive for you, so you can have some refreshments before you get to the Paracas Hotel. Enjoy. You should be there, let's see, 3:30, luggage, everything, 4 o'clock, 5, 6, 7. You'll be there after dark. But you can rest. You can possibly do a late night visit to the spa before your activities in the desert the next day. So we're going to start with buggies, which is a lot of fun in the sand dunes. And we're also going to Paracas National Reserve, which is, if you ever saw photos of Paracas, those beautiful cliffs, those beautiful views of the ocean, possibly being able to see some wildlife from there as well, marine wildlife as well as bird life. We'll be able to tackle all of those sites and then slowly make our way back to the Lima airport, because your flight is that evening at 11:55 p.m. to go home. So that is what the itinerary is like. I don't think we could have fit anything else in. It is a busy itinerary. I always like to say Peru is not a vacation, it is an expedition. So if you go with that mindset, you have a wonderful time. But we always try to sneak in some nice relaxation for you, especially in the afternoons during this season. So I hope you take advantage of that as well. Below the itinerary, you will have some more pre-departure information like language, it's Spanish, time zones, just a hour difference from the East Coast. Currency is the soles. Do you need to bring local currency? Don't exchange money here and bring it with you. You have some options. You can bring your credit cards and use them in most hotels and restaurants. You can bring US cash and you can exchange it locally at the exchange booths, which your guide will assist you with, or you can go into any local bank and exchange currency. Or you can simply use a local ATM machine and it will spit out soles for you. So that is what I do. It's the easiest way to get local currency without having to stand in lines at banks, because Peru loves lines. So I suggest avoiding that if possible. And then how much money should you bring? I usually travel with my husband and my two children, and we start with $500 of US cash, and that typically lasts us throughout, 10 days, because a lot of times we have a lot of things included, or we have access to use of credit cards. So if you bring in cash, bring only small bills. $20 should be probably your largest bill that you bring. Electricity plugs, these are the two types. So they have the same plug as here in the United States in majority of places. Sometimes it will look like the second type C one, and that's like Europe as well. So you might want to bring one converter, but most hotels will have a converter at the front desk, and most hotels now have type A, so it's easy. That said, the voltage is different, so you don't want to bring any hair dryers, curling irons, anything like that, because they will burn in Peru unless you bring a whole adapter for that. So we can talk about that in email if you have any questions about that. You'll have internet access pretty much everywhere. I mean, I'm getting texts of and photos from Machu Picchu from clients, so I know Wi-Fi or data is strong there as well. Weather, like I discussed, you are going in the green season, so afternoon showers can definitely happen, but it also means it's summer, so it's going to be much milder than the rest of the year. So you can probably leave winter coats at home, but in high altitude, I feel like it's cold every morning anyway. So layers, layers, layers is the key here, because by noon it'll be hot, but maybe 5 in the morning, you're going to want that fleece or some windbreaker and hats and gloves, things like that. So layers is big, especially for the hikes. And shoes, the most important thing for me is comfortable, good tread shoes. Leave the heels at home. Even for a restaurant like Maido, you want to have something comfortable, because the rest of the trip, you're going to be needing shoes that you can walk in. The only thing that's really not included is tipping, and that is by no means mandatory. It's at your discretion. I usually suggest $10 per person per day for our guides, half of that for our drivers. So you kind of figure that out amongst your family, what is comfortable for you. But by no means do you have to tip. We work only with salaried guides, so they will never ask you for a tip and they don't depend on the tips. Luggage allowances. So for your local flights, you will be allowed 50 pounds checked luggage per person. So keep that in mind. If you have more than one checked bag, you will be asked to pay for that at the airport by the airline. And then this little set of information here is for that train to Machu Picchu. We put a backpack here just to give you an idea of really what you should be bringing to Machu Picchu. But I've brought duffel bags, I've brought rolly suitcases, so you can do that as well as long as they're small and can fit under the chair on the train because there are no luggage carts on the train. So have a peek at the rest of the information. Let me know if there's any questions at all. I am here for you. I'm super excited. Everyone is ready and waiting for your family. And so thank you so much for listening and happy travels.